Yo, 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 yo. Mr. G coming at you with a video talking about circumference and area of circles. So we're starting on circles and we're getting both done at once, which is circumference, which is the distance around a circle, and then the area, the measurement inside the circle. So key terms right here: diameter, radius, circumference, and area. And then I also, maybe next to your key terms, if you have space, I want you to draw a circle, and then we're going to label parts of the circle. So if I draw a circle here, that is an ugly circle, but it'll work. A circle always has a center. Cool part about the center of a circle is that it's the same distance from any side of the circle to the center. So this right here is the distance from the edge of the circle to the center, and you're going to notice this from your definitions. This is your radius. And then if we're going across the circle through the center, so I'll go blue line here, that would be your diameter. I'll write this alongside. So the diameter is all the way across, the radius is halfway. The radius is always half of the diameter. So the radius, if you take the radius and multiply it by 2, it'll give you your diameter. Okay, so those are just the two big things. Circumference is the distance around the circle. It's like the perimeter of the circle. Now, so talking about circles, what we're going to learn is we're going to learn how to find the circumference of a circle, and we're going to learn how to find the area of a circle. And the way we do this is by using our circumference formula and our area formula. So if you don't know the circumference formula, there it is. It is either pi times the diameter, or it is 2 times pi times the radius. Both of those formulas are the same thing, because if I take 2 and I multiply it by the radius, it gives me the diameter. So it's basically just saying if you have your radius, multiply by 2 so you have your diameter, and then the circumference is just whatever the diameter is times pi. Okay, so, and that's it. So what we do though, whenever we are working with circles, we always multiply by pi at the very, very end. That's always the last thing you do. And the reason why is because pi is going to give you a decimal. We use 3.14 for pi. So if we need to write that down if we don't remember. So use 3.14 for pi, but we always just multiply by pi last. We deal with the decimal last, and it just makes your life a lot easier. So here I have two different circles, one with the radius and one with the diameter. So this is a radius of 14, this one's a diameter of 11. So I'm going to use my formula. Circumference equals 2 times pi times my radius. So I'm going to plug values in. So circumference equals 2 times pi times 14. So like I mentioned before, we're going to multiply by pi last. It just makes it less work. Because I can do 2 times 14 real quick, because that's 28. And you're allowed to multiply in any order you want. So circumference is 28 times pi. Now, this is where you can do 28 times pi. And just for the sake of time today, I have this calculator here for us. I'm going to do 3.14 times 28. And I'm going to use the calculator, 87.92. I plan on doing this just to save us time in the video. So, circumference is 87.92 feet. It is not feet squared like area, it's just normal feet because it's distance around. So this circle is 87.92 feet around. Now, going to the second one here, this one we already have the diameter. Since I know the diameter, I don't have to multiply anything by 2. So my circumference is just equal to the diameter times pi. So that's 11 times pi. So then I can take 3.14 and multiply it by 11 to get 34.54. And this one would be centimeters. Okay? So it's really just using our formulas. It's determining if we have the radius or if we have the diameter. If you have your radius, just multiply it by 2, then that gives you the diameter. So for the radius of a circle, I'm sorry, for this last question down here, this is when we use our formula. So it says, what is the radius? It's asking you to find the radius of a circle that has a circumference of 628. So we're actually already given the circumference, but it wants to find the radius. So if I use my formula, I know my formula is 2 times pi times my radius. I'm going to plug in the values that I know. This is why formulas are so nice. Once you can always find any value since we know how to solve equations. So I know the circumference is 628. Well, I don't know what my radius is, so I'm going to leave that as an r. Now I have an equation that I can solve. And here's the cool part. I can divide by 2, because this is all multiplication. This is all multiplication here. So I can divide by 2, and this is going to give me 314 equals pi times my radius. I'm going to move this over here just for the sake of space. 314 equals pi times my radius. And then now, because this is multiplication here, pi, I can just divide it by pi. Or I can divide it by 3.14. Because remember, these mean the same thing. Now, this one, I'm just going to show you what it is in the calculator so that you believe me. So 314 divided by 3.14 is 100. So there's your radius, and you're done. All we did was you plugged in what we knew. We knew the circumference, so I plugged that into the circumference formula, and then I solved for my radius just by dividing by 2 and dividing by pi. So we can go backwards as well. So this is circumference, distance around the circle. Formulas, super important. Should we write those ones down again? Okay, I got a quick joke for you guys. Why shouldn't you let advanced math intimidate you? So why should you not let advanced math intimidate you? Because it is as easy as pi. Boom, ching, bam. All right, moving on. So now we're going to look at area. Area is also just as easy as just using a formula. The formula is just obviously different. So area is the distance that the circle can fill inside the circle, so how much space it takes up. And here's our formula for area. Area equals pi times the radius squared. So I have to square the radius, and then I have to multiply by pi at the very end. So we always save pi for last. So order of operations does matter, and we do have to do exponents before we do our multiplication. And we do have to use the radius. Notice how there's no diameter in this formula. So if the area equals pi times the radius squared, what I need to do is I need to figure out, well, what's my radius? So for this first circle here, I'm given the radius. The radius is 12. So I'm going to plug in 12 here. So that's 12 raised to the power of 2. So that's area equals pi times 12 raised to the power of 2. Well, now what I have to do is I have to do my exponent first. Okay? So maybe even write that down. If you know that that's going to throw you off, say, do exponent first. We'll probably write that down or things to remember. So 12 squared is 144. The reason why 12 squared is 144 and not 24. Remember, this right here, this power of 2, this is really 12 times 12, which is 144. It is not 12 times 2. When we raise something to the power of, that's how many times we're multiplying it by itself. So for example, if I had like 3 to the 4th power, that's really 3 times itself 4 times. Okay, which would be 9 times 9, which would be 81. So we're never going to have to go to the 4th power, at least not right now. That's not till next year. But for right now, you need to know that square means multiply by itself. Do not multiply by 2. So area equals 144 pi. And then now, this is why we always say pi for last, because I was able to do 12 squared really quick, because that's an easy mental math problem. I'll put my calculator over here. So now I get to do 144 times 3.14, and I get 452.16. So the area is 452.16 millimeters square. We do square millimeters for area simply because it is area, and so that means we use our square units. All right, try this next one. See if you can do it. Pause it, try it, see what happens. Okay. So, here I have a diameter. If the diameter is 14, I can only use my radius in this formula. I need to know what my radius is, not my diameter. Well, if the diameter is 14, the radius is half of it. So half of 14 is 7. So that's what I need to use for this problem. It's pi times 7 squared. So then I always square first. 7 squared is 49. So my area is equal to 49 times pi. Now, sometimes questions will say, leave your answer in terms of pi. If it says to leave your answer in terms of pi, that means this would be my final answer right here, and I wouldn't multiply by pi. The reason why is pi, we're using an approximation because we changed it to 3.14, but as we know, pi goes on forever. And so as soon as we use 3.14 for pi, it's no longer an exact answer, it's just something close, it's an estimate. So if you leave your answer in terms of pi, you haven't approximated yet, so this is actually an exact answer. Just so you know. So sometimes it will say, sometimes we don't have to multiply by pi. Right now I do. So I am going to do 49 times 3.14, and I get 153.86 meters squared. So again, just figure out which one your radius is, and then multiply from there. Now, here we go. I'm asking to find the area of a circle that has a circumference of 4 pi. So let's talk about circumference. Circumference, we know, is pi times diameter. And we're being told right now that the circumference of this circle is 4 times pi. So using this information, we are actually able to identify what the diameter is of this circle. Because if the circumference is 4 times pi, and the circumference is also equal to the diameter times whatever pi is, this 4 right here is the diameter. So the diameter is 4. Now that I know what the diameter is, I can figure out what my radius is. If the diameter is 4, my radius is 2, because it's always half of that. So then now that means I can plug that in to my formula for area, which is pi times my radius squared. Now I get to do my exponent first. 2 squared is 4. So the area of this circle is 4 pi. It's actually the same thing as what the circumference was. And then now if I do 3.14 times 4, I get 12.56. So there's the area. So with circles, once we figure out what the radius or the diameter is, it's really easy to figure out both the circumference and the area. Sometimes we have to look at our formula in order to determine what the radius or diameter is, like what we did with this one. But once we figure out one, we can figure out all of them. All right, cool. That's it. Things to remember. Big thing. For area, do exponent first. Also write down radius is half the diameter. And then maybe another good thing, if you haven't written it big enough, maybe write down your formulas again. Okay, that's it. So please do the independent practice. And then that's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask and let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped. Credius out.